Have you ever wondered what it's like to earn the trust of someone who trusts no one? To be the single person allowed inside a fortress built from silence, pain, and self-reliance? Being the only friend of a Sigma male isn't like any ordinary bond, it's like stepping into a quiet, sacred chamber of their mind. A place where few are allowed to enter, and even fewer are trusted to stay. Sigma males don't hand out trust, they forge it through time, consistency, and truth. They've seen too many faces change when things get hard, too many promises break under pressure. So when they finally let someone in, it's not because they're lonely. It's because that person has proven to be real, in a world full of masks. You've seen them stripped of their armor, not the version they show to the world, but the one that carries silent battles and untold stories. And you didn't flinch. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you their chosen few. But being their only friend comes with a cost. It's like holding lightning, powerful, rare, but dangerous if mishandled. Sigma males won't sugarcoat reality. They won't feed your ego or comfort your delusions. They'll give you truth, raw, blunt, and sometimes painfully clear. And in that truth, you'll find the kind of loyalty that can't be faked. So what's it really like to walk beside a man who walks alone? To earn a place in the heart of someone who swore he didn't need anyone? Brace yourself. Because this isn't friendship as you know it. This is loyalty forged in silence, trust earned through storms, and connection built on truth. Welcome to what it means to be the only friend of a Sigma male. A bond few will understand, and even fewer will ever experience. Reason 1, you're more than a friend, you're an ally. When a Sigma male chooses you as their only friend, understand one thing, it's never by accident. They don't drift into friendships the way most people do. They don't collect people out of boredom or loneliness. For them, connection is intentional. It's earned. It's something sacred. To a Sigma, friendship isn't about comfort, it's about alignment. They see you not as a pastime, but as an ally in their personal mission, someone who understands their silent wars, respects their solitude, and walks beside them without trying to control their path. While most people fill their lives with surface-level company, Sigma males wait. They observe. They test. They want to see how you react under pressure, whether your loyalty survives silence, and if your presence remains steady when things fall apart. Because in their world, loyalty isn't proven in words, it's proven in how you stay when there's no reward for staying. And once they see that consistency in you, once they recognize that you don't need constant attention or validation, that's when they begin to trust. Not instantly, but gradually, piece by piece. Like someone handing over small fragments of a map to a place almost no one has ever seen. That's why being a Sigma's friend feels different. It's not just emotional closeness, it's a psychological alliance. You become part of their inner circle, which, for most Sigmas, is a circle of one. They won't flood you with constant calls or empty affection. But if you ever find yourself at your lowest, if the world turns its back on you, they'll be there. No hesitation. No drama. Just silent, solid support. Their loyalty doesn't scream, it stands. This is what psychologists call depth bonding, when connection isn't built on frequency, but on intensity and meaning. Sigma males don't want 10 friends to talk to, they want one soul who understands their silence. They measure connection not by how often you speak, but by how real you are when you do. But make no mistake, this kind of friendship comes with weight. Once you're in their circle, they hold you to the same standard they hold themselves to. Honesty, self-discipline, and consistency. If they sense dishonesty, gossip, or weakness of character, they pull back instantly. No argument. No explanation. Just distance. Because once you've been granted access to their trust, you're expected to guard it, not test it. And if that trust is ever broken, it's over. Sigma males don't reopen closed doors. They don't do second chances, not because they're cold, but because betrayal teaches them to value their peace over attachment. So if a Sigma male calls you a friend, don't take it lightly. You're not just a companion. You're someone who earned your place in the rarest part of their life, the place where their guard is down, and their truth is unfiltered. You're not just a friend. You're their ally in a world that rarely understands them. Reason 2, they value your independence as much as their own. If there's one thing that defines a Sigma male, it's their uncompromising independence. They've spent years mastering the art of self-reliance, not because they hate people, but because they've learned to function without needing anyone's approval, energy, or constant presence. And when it comes to friendship, they expect, and respect, the same from you. Unlike most people who equate closeness with constant communication, a Sigma sees dependency as a subtle form of weakness. They don't measure the strength of a friendship by how often you talk, text, or hang out. They measure it by how solid the bond remains in silence. You might go days, weeks, or even months without hearing from them. And then, out of nowhere, they'll appear with a deep conversation, a sharp observation, or a plan that feels spontaneous yet meaningful. To most people, that kind of absence might feel cold or distant. But to a Sigma, it's proof of trust. They trust that your connection doesn't need constant reminders to stay alive. They trust that you're living your own life, chasing your own growth, building your own strength, just like they are. They don't want to interrupt that. They don't want to dominate it. They simply want to coexist, two strong individuals walking their own paths, occasionally crossing to share wisdom, perspective, or laughter. In their eyes, the healthiest friendships are the ones that breathe, that have space, that don't demand. That's why a Sigma will never suffocate you with attention or expectation. They won't guilt-trip you for being busy. They won't test your loyalty through constant check-ins or emotional games. Because they don't see friendship as a chain, they see it as a bridge. It's a connection between two sovereign individuals who choose each other freely, not out of need, but out of respect. And that's what makes it powerful. For a Sigma, space is sacred. It's how they recharge, how they think, how they stay grounded. So when they give you space, they're not pushing you away, they're honoring your autonomy. They're saying, I trust you to handle your life the way I handle mine. But here's the paradox most people don't understand. That same independence that makes them so attractive can also make them hard to read. If you crave constant validation or reassurance, you might mistake their silence for disinterest. You might assume they've lost interest, or that they no longer care. But in reality, their silence is respect. It's their way of saying, I don't own you. I trust you. Psychologically, Sigma males operate on what's called mutual detachment. They value emotional connection, but only when it doesn't come at the cost of freedom. They've seen how dependency breeds resentment, and how constant need for validation weakens both sides. So they build connections that can survive distance, friendships that grow not because they're watered every day, but because their roots run deep. Think of it like this. Being friends with a Sigma is like caring for a rare, resilient plant. It doesn't crave daily attention. It thrives in balance, with just the right mix of closeness and space. And when you understand this rhythm, the friendship becomes something unbreakable. There's no neediness. No guilt. No emotional games. Just two strong individuals, respecting each other's solitude, and choosing to reconnect when it means something. That's what makes their friendship so rare. It's not built on constant noise, it's built on quiet trust. It's not about dependence, it's about mutual freedom. And in a world where everyone's desperate for attention, that kind of connection feels like oxygen. Reason 3, emotional support that's quiet but powerful. Sigma males aren't the kind to wear their emotions on their sleeves. You won't see them offering dramatic hugs, long speeches, or exaggerated comfort. They don't perform empathy, they live it in silence. And that silence, paradoxically, is where their strength lies. When you're the only friend of a Sigma male, their emotional support doesn't come in the form of constant reassurance or endless conversations. It comes through subtle, grounded gestures that reveal how deeply they see you. They notice the small shifts, the tone in your voice when something's bothering you, the slight delay in your response, the forced smile you think hides your exhaustion. They don't ask right away, but they store these details quietly. Because Sigma males don't rush to speak, they observe first, understand second, and respond last. When you finally open up, they don't interrupt. They don't try to outdo your story or minimize your pain. They simply listen, deeply, attentively, without judgment. They absorb every word, every pause, every silence between the sentences. And then, when the time is right, they'll say something, usually brief, but disarmingly accurate. A single sentence that cuts through all the surface noise and lands directly on the truth. It's not meant to impress you. It's meant to remind you of who you are. That's their gift, quiet precision. They know exactly what to say and when to say it, because their empathy isn't emotional reaction, it's emotional intelligence sharpened through solitude. You see, Sigma males spend a lot of time in introspection. They dissect their own emotions. They question their motives, their pain, their desires. And through that process, they develop a deep, almost surgical understanding of human struggle. They know what it's like to feel misunderstood. They know what it's like to suffer in silence while the world keeps moving. And that awareness gives their empathy weight. It's not shallow sympathy, it's recognition. It's their way of saying, I've been there. You're not crazy. You're just human. Psychologist Carl Rogers once said, when someone really hears you without judgment or trying to fix you, it feels damn good. That perfectly captures what it's like to be emotionally supported by a Sigma. They don't try to mold you or rescue you, because they know how insulting it feels when someone tries to fix your pain without understanding it. They offer something far more valuable, presence. A calm, grounded, unshakable presence. You can sit next to them in silence, and somehow it feels like healing. Because with them, silence isn't emptiness, it's connection without noise. Most people confuse empathy with noise, with words, reassurance, or flattery. But Sigma males have mastered a quieter kind of empathy. It's in their steady eye contact. It's in their calm tone when everything around you feels chaotic. It's in the way they say nothing, yet make you feel completely understood. Their silence speaks louder than most people's comfort words ever could. Because when a Sigma listens to you, they're not planning what to say next, they're absorbing your world, moment by moment. And when they finally do speak, it's not to give you a solution, it's to hand you back your own strength. That's why their emotional support feels so powerful. It's rare. It's genuine. And it's built on deep emotional presence rather than empty sympathy. Being comforted by a Sigma isn't about being saved. It's about being seen. And in a world full of noise, that kind of quiet understanding feels revolutionary. Reason 4, the challenges of their emotional distance. As fulfilling as a friendship with a Sigma male can be, it comes with its own set of quiet, complex challenges. The most difficult one? Their emotional distance. See, Sigma males are capable of immense loyalty and unwavering commitment. When they care about you, they'll stand by your side through the darkest storms without ever asking for recognition. But that same strength that makes them so dependable is also what makes them emotionally distant. They've learned, often through pain, that emotional exposure can become a weapon in the wrong hands. So they built walls. Not out of arrogance or ego, but out of self-preservation. It's not that they don't feel, they feel deeply. They just don't show it. Over time, they've trained themselves to process emotions privately, to survive without leaning on anyone. Because to them, dependency feels dangerous. Vulnerability feels like stepping into enemy territory. You might notice this in small ways. They'll change the subject when conversations get too personal. They'll offer insight into your life, but deflect when you ask about theirs. It's not that they're hiding something, they're simply not used to being understood. They've spent years being the strong one, the observer, the problem solver, the anchor in chaos. And when you live that way long enough, it becomes second nature to guard your emotions like they're sacred. This can make the friendship feel one-sided at times. You might find yourself sharing your worries, your dreams, your fears, while they listen quietly, rarely returning the same level of openness. It can make you wonder if they're truly letting you in, or if you're just talking to the surface of a much deeper ocean. But here's the truth most people miss. Sigma males do express emotion, just not with words. You have to learn their language. They might not say, "I'm here for you," but they'll show up, unannounced, steady, ready to help when everyone else has vanished. They might not say, "I appreciate you," but they'll fix something you mentioned weeks ago, quietly, without making a big deal out of it. They might not say, "I care," but they'll remember small details about your life that even you forgot. Their loyalty is their love language. Their actions are their way of speaking. And if you learn to read between the silences, you'll realize, they've been saying everything all along. But being the only friend of a Sigma male demands strength and emotional maturity. You can't expect constant reassurance or emotional dramatics. They don't do dependency, not for themselves, and not for others. Instead, they crave mutual respect, a connection where both people stand on their own feet, yet meet in the middle when it matters most. You become more than a friend. You become their sanctuary, the one place in a chaotic world where they can finally lower their guard, even if only for a moment. But that role carries responsibility. You can't force their walls down, you have to earn your way through them. It's not about prying or pushing for emotional confessions, it's about showing consistency, patience, and quiet understanding. For a Sigma, it's not constant communication that builds trust, it's meaningful presence. It's showing up when they least expect it, but most need it. It's being the calm they never have to question. So yes, their emotional distance can feel frustrating. At times, it may seem like they're too far away to reach. But the truth is, that distance is what allows them to be who they are, composed, independent, unshaken by the world. And if you're the one person they slowly let inside those walls, understand what that truly means. You've earned the trust of someone who trusts no one. You've become the exception to their rule, and that's not something they give lightly. Because when a Sigma finally lets you in, you're not just inside their circle. You're inside their soul. Final thoughts. If you're lucky enough to have a Sigma male in your corner, cherish it. Because you're not just a friend to them, you're a rare exception in a world full of masks and noise. Sigma males don't hand out loyalty easily. They've been burned, betrayed, and misunderstood more times than they'll ever admit. So when they choose to stand beside you, it's not because they need company, it's because they see you. They recognize something in you that mirrors their own strength, authenticity, depth, and resilience. They won't shower you with constant validation or endless attention. But when life hits hard, they'll be there, calm, grounded, unshaken. They'll help you rebuild without ever making you feel weak for breaking. They'll push you to grow without ever saying a word. That's the kind of loyalty that doesn't shout, it shows. These are the people who'll challenge your thinking, not just agree with it. Who'll make you uncomfortable with honesty, but stronger because of it. Their silence will teach you more about love, friendship, and self-respect than most words ever could. And if you see yourself in the Sigma archetype, walking through life with quiet purpose, with independence as your armor and solitude as your sanctuary, then hear this. It's okay to let someone in. You can still be self-reliant and open-hearted. You can still protect your peace while allowing connection. Letting someone see the real you doesn't make you weak, it makes you whole. Because even lone wolves need a place to rest. Even the strongest minds need to be understood. And sometimes, finding that one person who truly gets you, the one who doesn't judge, doesn't drain, doesn't fake, can make your solitary journey a little less heavy, and a lot more meaningful. So if you found that person, hold on to them with quiet gratitude. If you are that person, know that your presence in someone's life means more than you realize. Thank you for watching. If this message resonated with you, take a moment, hit that like button, share it with someone who might need to hear this, and subscribe for more deep insights into the mind of the Sigma male. Turn on notifications, because there's much more to come, more truth, more depth, and more exploration into the psychology of the lone wolf. Until next time, stay sharp, stay grounded, stay self-aware, and remember, the Sigma path is often walked alone. But it doesn't always have to be lonely. Sometimes, the rarest connections are the quietest ones. And in that silence, real understanding begins.